Today, I have the pleasure of talking to Sonia. Please introduce yourself and your business to our community.
Hi Claire, my name is Sonia Rye and I am the founder and director of NextLEVEL. So I am a HR consultant by trade and I run a HR consultancy firm.
Wonderful. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been in HR for about 20 years. And I've been running NextLEVEL for about the past 11 years. I did have a short break in between when I had my youngest. I always tell people about what happened then because I ended up closing my business down for a while when he was born. It was a bit unforeseen, but he was quite unwell, so I needed to take some time out. But by the time he was better and doing better, I started picking up HR work, and then I kind of came back formally as NextLEVEL in 2016.
Fantastic. Amazing. And what would you say, Sonia, has been one of your biggest learnings since you've been a business owner?
I think it's just to say that you are constantly learning, like every day is a school day. I think the biggest thing for me has been the transition from being a one-man band and, really loving the consultancy work that I do. Love the challenges. I love one client ringing me about one issue and then another client speaking to me about something completely different. But then as I realized, okay, it's kind of scary because I need to grow now. If I want to continue doing this, and if it's going to be viable for me, I need to grow it. And so that transition from just me to then another person and then another person and then another person, what it means is your focus has to shift from being the front facing, talking to clients, giving advice, to all these other things that go on in the background. And yeah, so now I describe myself as a HR consultant, but I also run a business, so I can really relate to a lot of the clients that we work with. So I think for me, the biggest learning curve has been that transition of, okay, we're growing, and now I am actually creating a culture for my organization. What are my visions? What do I want my team to feel like when they're coming into work? And all of the automation, all of the systems, all of the processes that sit behind that. Definitely.
Yeah, amazing. And as you say, from just you to then a team, that growth and that learning is just huge through that period. What would you say, or who would you say is your best type of customer?
I would say it's going to be any size of organization, because we've got clients that have got 2 employees and we've got clients that have got 600 employees. But really our ideal kind of client is somebody who knows the value that we're able to bring to their organization. So I think if you're the kind of organization where HR is a tick box exercise, you're not really bothered what's in your contracts unless you've got a serious issue, we're not really kind of going to be the right organization to work with you, because that's not what we do. We're here about really delivering HR at all levels for organizations that understand the value of it. And it's really actually interesting when we start working with clients that are sometimes not always, they've come to us because there's been a huge issue and they've come to us, they've needed our help, and then we've started to unearth a lot of things for them. And it's really nice, the journey that we go on, because they very much change their perception of, oh my God, I didn't realize how much what you do actually impacts the service on the ground that we deliver in social care, healthcare, whatever it might be, the different kind of industries that our clients are operating within. So I think for us, it's clients. I mean, our ideal client is somebody that just gets it and understands what we're doing and trusts us with the advice that we're giving. But definitely, I think they've got to understand that when you download a template or a contract of employment from somewhere, like, that isn't going to be right for your business. And a lot of those generic clauses aren't going to stand up in tribunals. And a lot of them kind of think, oh, I'm never going to end up in a tribunal, but it's always, it's those kind of organizations that sadly will end up there. And usually it's not because, the employee hasn't done something wrong, but it's because they as an organization haven't acted in the right way and haven't followed the right process. So really, I think, you know, we like to work with clients that understand what we bring to the table, the value that we bring, and we like to surprise them with, you know, with showing them kind of how important it is to get your recruitment right, how important it is to get the right people through the door. And when we start talking figures and things like that, and, you know, how much it's actually costing them to get a new starter in the door, and then they start realizing, oh my goodness, this is really, really important. And people in my business, actually, if they're not happy and they're not doing a good job, I don't have a business. Those are just amazing clients to work with.
Yeah, those light bulb moments in HR, and you're right, you know, people now as well are they've got a lot more choice in terms of how they work and where they work. And that kind of brings me on a little bit to COVID, that C word, and perhaps some of the changes that you have adopted throughout that period that you're choosing to keep in your business moving forwards.
Yeah, so I was very, very excited in kind of January, February 2020, because I got us our first ever office for Nectar HR. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't believe we've got an office. We're not just working from home anymore. You know, I had a new staff member. We weren't going to be meeting in Costa or Starbucks or being on client sites. We were going to have our own office. So I was super excited, settled in, and you know, now it's kind of like March and we're starting to hear more and more about COVID on the news. And I was like, oh, wow, what's going on here? And, you know, we had to work from home like everybody else. We do have health care and social care clients that were still running, you know, they didn't furlough staff and things like that. So actually, we were still going out to clients in COVID if we needed to, and we were very much there with them, supporting them. But generally, it meant that we didn't see each other except for Teams for a very, very long time. And then I kind of, by that time, the team had grown to like 4, and I was getting the team saying to me, you know, we really want to be in the office. We really want to see each other. It's not that we don't like working from home, but, you know, it's hard. We want to get back in the office. So then we started the hybrid working, and we've adopted that approach ever since. Now we're adopting hybrid working simply because our office is too small and it doesn't fit all of us in. So we're actually looking for a bigger office. But still, the team like to have the mixture of the face-to-face, the being on client sites, if we need to, and then the working from home. So I think for us, that has been a challenge, because we're helping our clients manage teams that aren't all in one place, taking for granted those little conversations you'd have in the office, but other things that we've been kind of like really supporting on, and obviously doing, and you know, looking at remote working agreements, looking at hybrid working, looking at how that impacts people. You know, we've got some employees for clients that don't want to work from home. They only want to be in the office because it's better for their mental health. They have that routine, they need that structure. Otherwise, they've gone into kind of almost a bit of depression mode from working from home too much. And then we've got other people that just want to work from home. So it's like the mixture and the balance, really. But for us as HR professionals, it has been an extremely challenging time, because things changed on a daily basis. Things like furlough, things like staff needing to shield, or all of these kind of things were coming up, and they're things that we've never ever dealt with before. And furlough isn't even an English legal term, it's from America. So we didn't even know what it meant. We had to get our head around it. We were always getting called up about, this person's called in sick, this person thinks they've got COVID, what's the guidelines? So it was an extremely stressful and challenging time for us, but actually we all really stepped up to the mark. I'm really, really proud of the team for getting through that. I think it's changed the way that people work. It's changed the way that people view work, and I think it's massively impacting like candidates and applicants applying for jobs now, and I think it's just changed the world of work.
Absolutely. And that was going to lead me on to what is the biggest challenge you faced since starting and leading your business. But it sounds like there was quite a big one there, that navigating, constantly navigating and learning. Would you say there's anything outside that, or would that have been one of your biggest?
I think my biggest challenge, I think from a technical viewpoint, it's been COVID, but also some really complex employment law cases that we've dealt with, like, employee scenarios where we're doing huge restructures for clients in the middle of COVID. So we were doing them all remotely. And it was really, really hard to get our head around how we do that. And, before that time, we never ever would have dreamt of doing a redundancy meeting via the computer, or a disciplinary hearing, or a dismissal. And now it's commonplace to do that. And actually, most of the clients that we work with prefer to do it that way, because it takes the emotion and the feeling out of some meetings that can be actually quite difficult to navigate through. So I would say, from a like a technical, the work that we do, COVID has been extremely challenging. But I think for me as a business owner, the biggest challenge that I have is literally not spending every moment of my life working, because I think if I chose to, I could, and sometimes it feels like I do. And it's actually been burnout. So COVID was massive for us. We were extremely busy. We still are. And when you're a business owner, you don't want to complain about being busy and having work coming in, because, that's what we're here to do, isn't it? We're here to work and provide fantastic HR service for our clients. But actually trying to get that balance, trying to make sure that, I'm a mum, I have children. My daughter did her GCSEs earlier this year, and I really needed to be there for her. I wanted to do things like make sure she had a proper breakfast in the morning before she had her exams, and take her to school, because I don't do the school run quite a lot, and these kind of, so it's actually the balance, making sure that I am not just giving 100,000,000% just to to HR, but that I'm trying to balance all the other things, make sure that I'm giving my time to the team, and that they can come to me with anything, and that they can ask me anything, whether this morning I've just been dealing with queries from the team, essentially about this is happening, a bit of direction, giving them that time, because we go into organizations and we see how poorly people can be managed and how quickly that can go wrong, and I never ever want that in my own business. So it's challenging managing your time as a business owner, time for yourself, time for business development, time for your clients, but then just time for you. And I think the lesson I've learned this year, because I had COVID again this year, was quite unwell. A lot of the team had COVID. And the lesson I learned is that actually, if I don't look after myself, I'm going to burn out, and I won't be able to give anything to HR or anybody else. So I am trying to bring that time back in for myself as well.
Yeah, and that is huge. Thank you for sharing that. A healthy you is a healthy business. And I think, sometimes, as you say, we can sort of be on the go all the time, but perhaps step back and say, okay, if I did take some time for myself, perhaps I would be more productive. And that's just a massive share and learning as well. So thank you for sharing that. How do you like to switch off?
Good question. So I've never really been one for like watching TV. If I watch TV, I don't tend to watch like soap operas and stuff like that. I don't really get into that. So if I watch something on TV, it has to be really engaging and really like my mind cannot go anywhere else, because I will just start thinking about work. So I find it quite hard. So I like to spend time with my kids. I like to do things with the kids. I like to have things planned in advance, what we're doing at Christmas, what we're doing in Easter. So I like to have things to look forward to that kind of help me plan also with work that the team know I'm going to be away, so they know what they've got to pick up in my absence, because I would find it very, very difficult to just go, okay, I'm not in work tomorrow. That wouldn't work for me. But I actually have written myself a list that I will force myself to look at, and it's called things for me. So it might be reading a book. I like to read a lot of fiction, again, something that really, really gets me engrossed. It might be going for a run. I do like running. I'm one of those people that did Couch to 5K in lockdown and have continued with it since. I like to go out with my friends, or sometimes I just like to go on my own and have a coffee and just not have, you know, the constant pinging of emails, the constant calls, everything, because my life is I would describe it as organized chaos. Even now, you know, we're on this, and I've had emails kind of pinging in all the time. So I like to just take myself away from that, remove myself away from that. And actually, the more that I do it, the more empowering it is, because when I come back to work, A, I'm ready, but B, it gives me confidence to see that the team are okay, you know, for that period of time. I turned 40 in the summer. So, you know, all year I was kind of harping on about, I'm going to be away, I'm going to be away, I'm going to be away, you know, getting ready for it. But they were, I did huge handovers. I recorded videos for handovers. I tried to prepare so much, and I did switch my email notifications off. I decided how I was going to be contactable, and I wouldn't just keep checking in. You know, I really did, because at the end of the day, the team are there to also do this. So, and it was absolutely fine. I came back and there was nothing major that, you know, the business just continued to run. And that taught me that actually, no, Sonia, you need to be able to take a step back. And so I have my list, and I will check in with myself regularly to ensure that I'm getting the balance. So have I been doing X, Y, and Z enough this week, or has it just been all about work? And if it has, because there are occasions where it is just all about work, because it has to be, then I plan like half a day to myself within the next 10 days or so, that I know that, right, I've got that bit of downtime, because I'm really starting to realize that if I'm not 100% and I'm not healthy in my mind and my body, then it will impact the business.
That's massive. Thank you so much for sharing. And finally, I'd like to take you to successes. What would you say one of your biggest successes have been in the time of Nectar?
I would say there's a few. I definitely, I mean, we got nominated for an award earlier this year for the CSR work that we do. So I am a Sikh by faith, and giving back to our community and selfless service is really, really important to me. So all the team at Nectar HR get to choose a charity, and they get to choose whatever they want to do for that charity in the year, and it's completely up to them, and we decide how they want to use their paid time throughout the year to be supporting a charity. So that for me is a huge success, because as a business owner, I'm able to implement that into my work, and I'm able to see that the staff love doing that. But we also support a number of charities pro bono, so we'll help them with their volunteering agreements, their policies, even if they're fully run on volunteers, we'll help them with their kind of the HR side of things. So that for me is a huge success, because, you know, in HR you get to see, you don't ever really get to see like an end product, because you're supporting people a lot of the time. So you might support somebody through a really difficult situation, or you might finish a project. But when you're doing that work with the charities, it's extremely, just, I think, emotionally fulfilling. So I feel very blessed and very grateful that I'm able to have that opportunity and do that within my business. So that is a big success for me. But I think the other two successes are, we have a very, very happy team at Nectar. So the feedback, I'm always checking in with the team to make sure how they are. Do they need anything from me? How you know, do they need development, do they need training, what, you know, I'm always having those conversations because I want to foster that culture. And you know, the feedback is always great. They're happy, they're engaged, they're motivated, they enjoy the work that they're doing, and then the feedback from the clients is, you know, we retain our clients. They always want to continue working with us. They're always telling other people to come and work with us. And I can't really ask for any more than that. You know, I do sit back and think, wow, this has grown to kind of a point where I never thought it would. And I'm extremely proud of it. So the growth, the success, the happiness and the engagement of the team and the clients. And just when clients are saying, you know, they've had bad experiences elsewhere with HR services and they've come to us and they've just kind of like, you just get it, you're a face and you're real people. And that's what our tagline is, we put the human back into HR, you know, and that is just so, I'm just grateful that I'm able to do that. So I think for me, those are our big successes.
And congratulations, Sonia. Thank you so much for joining us today, and to your ongoing and future success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. Thanks for having me on.